Hello, welcome back to the Coleman channel. After 7 long months of not uploading a video. Yeah, I've just not been uploading anything really. I've not really had any ideas for what to do with this channel as of late. I've mostly been streaming recently on Twitch, which you should definitely check out. I'm going to plug that straight away. Coleman Live, check out on Twitch. We stream every Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday. It's a bit loosey-goosey, but most of the time, those are the days. 8 till half 11. Unless it's a Friday, in which case it's 8 till 10. Mondays we do Game Pass gameplay, where we play a random game on Xbox Game Pass. Wednesdays we do the PC Hangout stream, where we just hang out as some bros, as some dudes, as some guys, you know, having a good time on a PC, watching some stuff on YouTube, doing some tier lists. And Fridays it's the writing and editing stream, where I'll just do a little bit of writing for personal projects like short stories or poems or scripts or anything like that. Or I do some editing, which I've been doing a lot recently the past few Fridays. I do some editing for StudioFV, the media production company which I'm a part of, and that brings us on to what this video is about. If you've read the title already, this is a fun little thing that I thought would be pretty good to do for this channel, make it come to some sort of use, which would be a good recurring series, and also means that I can push and do some things in association with StudioFV, the media production company of which I am employed. Formerly known as Fablevision Studios. We rebranded recently. As you may or may not know, I've brought up in the stream sometimes. I am a media technician on board with StudioFV. I was part of the big rebrand and all that kind of stuff. Part of the young group of people who do the videography, the editing, all the technical stuff, coming up with all sorts of great ideas for in-house productions, and also doing work for other people, clients and stuff like that. Feel free to check out the website, studiofv.co.uk. The link will be in the video below. And we can do anything basically, you know, hit us up. We'll talk about any kind of idea you have if you want us to run any kind of social media. If you need us for any kind of videography for a project you're working on. If you want us on board for a project, like maybe co-production or something like that. Or run ideas past us. We also do a lot of stuff for socially engaged artists in attachment with the Fablevision charity. And this series is going to get into some kind of behind the scenes, the making of some of these projects that we've been working on in-house. And today we're going to be talking about Coffee Break, a StudioFV Halloween special. This is the 6-minute short film. It was not meant to be 6 minutes, we'll get into that. The 6-minute short film that we made for Halloween, which was created by all the young people, like I said, created by all the young people, conceptualized, filmed, edited, all of that. Pretty much we're on board for the whole thing. And we'll get into that today. Before you start watching this video, if you have not seen the short yet, I highly recommend that you do. You can find it on the StudioFV YouTube channel, which I will also link down below. It will also be an associated channel on the Coleman channel. You can find it on the StudioFV Facebook and all that sort of stuff as well, and then also you can, you know, follow their other social medias on Twitter and all that kind of stuff. And you can also find the fun video, the outtakes, where some of the bloopers, some of the funny moments that happened in the making of the video. It's very funny. We had a very good time making it. So I basically wanted to guide you through the creative process, what goes into making a short film like this with a group of young creatives, basically. Who've basically just got started off in this media production company, getting into the conceptualization of such a thing, getting into the concepts and where we thought to shoot, how the shooting went on, you know, how many people were on board for the whole thing, what cameras we used, all that kind of stuff. It was a fun time. It took about maybe like 3 days, 2.5 days of shooting, I would have thought. And then maybe like a day or two before of like conceptualizing the whole thing and putting it all together. Basically the whole reason that we made Coffee Break in the first place was we needed footage. Like I said, Fablevision Studios recently rebranded into StudioFV, and one of the most important things that you need when you're rebranding a media production company is you need a show reel. You need, for your website specifically, you need a big old show reel to show off some of the great footage you've got. They can kind of just show all the things that you're capable of providing to customers, clients, as a media production company in terms of videography, color grading, directing, even stuff like acting, you know, all that kind of stuff. Just a thing that can show off all your abilities. So you need a good show reel to show off that kind of thing, and show off all your abilities. So we were really fishing for different things. Obviously we've been involved in all sorts of different socially engaged art projects and stuff, like the Woven and Govan project, the documentary we did a while ago, Behind Closed Doors, Paisley's Hidden Tenement Tales. We'll do a behind the scenes, the making of video on that at some point as well, I think. But you know, we needed some footage that shows off a bit everything in terms of like conceptualizing the project, filming it, acting it and all that kind of stuff. So we decided we would like to make a short film in-house related to a holiday, and what better holiday to make a short film for than Halloween. I don't know what that was, but yeah, Halloween was just around the corner. We're all big fans of Halloween in the studio anyway. A lot of us are big horror heads, love horror films and all that kind of thing, so I think we were all desperate to make some kind of a horror movie. And that's what we decided to do. Well, the video itself was uploaded on Halloween, and like I said, it probably took maybe like 3 days, 2.5 days worth of filming, non-stop, 10 o'clock to about probably past 4 p.m. in the office and the place that we're in. And then, like I said, probably like 2 days of conceptualizing the whole thing and putting our brains together to come up with an idea, and then obviously deciding what roles we're all going to provide and the production of it. It was a bit of a marriage of two ideas. I was there as a co-director and a co-conceptualizer of the whole idea. It was a marriage of two ideas between me, myself, and Greg Kelly, marketing officer of StudioFV, and also a man of many other hats, which is one of the good things about working with StudioFV, is you get to wear many different hats. So while you may be one particular job description, you get to run around basically and do all sorts of different stuff. So even if you're supposed to be in marketing, you know, Greg's basically the general manager of the whole place at this point, so he also manages, you know, he goes out and helps us with shoots and running, and even handles the camera sometimes and that sort of stuff. So it's very good, very nice flex. We get to dip into many different pools, which is great for experience and stuff. So yeah, it was a marriage of two ideas, and I'll put on the screen at some point my treatment that I wrote basically for the concept. And basically both our ideas are actually very similar. We wanted to take advantage of the horrifying tunnels that are underneath the Paisley Centre, because obviously, if you don't know, this place is a big ass shopping centre, and there's obviously many other shops near our studio, and to get about and like store, you know, stock and all that kind of stuff. There's tunnels everywhere. Very dark, dank, scary, grey brick tunnels that just go on and on and on in all different places, and they're terrifying. It's like one of the first things that everyone thinks when they start in StudioFV. They get taken down to the green room, and everyone says these fucking tunnels are terrifying. Yes, pretty much everyone who wanted to make this horror film had the idea, these tunnels are terrifying, let's make a horror film out of them. And that's what happened between me and Greg. We both wanted to take advantage of these tunnels, so our ideas are very similar. Mine's was literally just, yeah, well, they're very similar because we both involved a person, a victim, as we called them. The victim at the end was a guy goes down into these tunnels and finds out it's basically an endless labyrinth, and he gets lost, and it gets very trippy and terrifying until he sees some sort of entity, faceless entity, and then he tries to kill him, or succeeds in killing him, or whatever. Mine did not involve the studio or anything like that at all. It was going to be very much detached from the whole thing. It was just going to be a guy who wakes up in these tunnels and goes in a blind panic and tries to escape, walking through the tunnels and stuff, and it just gets more and more trippy, more David Lynchian. I wanted to do some really crazy visuals and stuff, like turning, spinning corridors and that sort of stuff, which you managed to implement into the final thing, and all that kind of stuff. And Greg's idea was very much of the same thing, except it involved the studio, and it started off with everyone in the office, and one guy, the victim, goes on a coffee break, hence the name, goes out and gets everyone coffee, and goes out down into the tunnels and gets lost and wanders around for a bit. And then it gets progressively more scary. So that's where the marriage happened. It was basically the idea of getting lost in the tunnels, becoming more trippy and labyrinthian as it goes on, and then we're faced with this entity character who eventually became known as the Ghoul in-house. We'll get into him in a bit. Gets chased around for a bit, maybe not gets killed, and it's bookended by Greg's concept with the office, going to get coffee, adding a little bit of a comedic element to it. And that's pretty much how the whole idea was birthed. That's the beginnings of Coffee Break. And that was pretty much conceptualised over maybe 2 days, because we started talking about making a thing for a showreel in-house. Let's do a Halloween special. What ideas can we come up with? And then, you know, the next day, oh, I've got an idea. Oh, I've got an idea as well. These ideas are really good. Mesh. And so the production begins. Overall, the production of Coffee Break was very simple, because we went in knowing for a fact we wanted to do. One of the most important things when it comes to filming one of these kind of things, like a short film or a skit or something like that, is you really need to know what you're filming. Because if you're wandering around with a kind of a bare bones idea of what the skit or short or whatever it is like, oh, scene 1 this happens, scene 2 this happens, scene 3, and then it ends, but you don't really know the contents of the scene. You just know this what happens in the scene. It can get very easy to get lost in the filming and not know really what you're filming, and then things don't work in the editing process, because it's very important to know what it's going to look like in post, and you need to know how these clips are going to come together, because they're getting filmed separately, and it's very hard if you don't really know what you're filming, and then you film it. You're kind of making up as you go along, but you know what the scene's going to be like, and then you go into the editing process, and these clips, what you thought might work doesn't really work, and they don't sync up very well together, or, you know, one scene doesn't transition into another very well, and it's all very choppy and weird and doesn't work. That's a thing that can happen. So it's very important to know what you're going to film, and that is a thing that we did. We made sure to make a storyboard of the whole thing, break down scene by scene what happens. It was like 10 scenes in total we ended up with. I could probably at least name it beat by beat. Scene 1 was the office scene, you know, coffee, you want coffee, you want coffee. Scene 2 was going towards the break room to go get the coffee, and then noticing that he forgot his key and he can't get in the break room. Title sequence, coffee break. Scene 3 is just the whole sequence of him getting lost in the tunnels and wondering what the hell's going on. Scene 4 was cutaways, because he wanted to add a bit more of a comedic element to go back to back with the horror elements as we ramped up the terror and the urgency of him going through, because it starts off him, he's pretty nonchalant, or, you know, like, what the hell, where am I, I'm lost. As he goes on, he gets more panicked, more out of breath, out of puff, more dishevelled. Passage of time, he's been down there for a long time, and it gets broken up with these funny cutaways back in the office of people just editing away, editing some funny Halloween stuff. We're getting cold calls from Jigsaw, from Saw, all that kind of stuff. Funny little cutaways to break up the horror and add like the horror comedy aspect of the whole thing. Initially, I think we walked in wanting a straight horror flick, but as we thought about the coffee break idea, which is literally just a guy's gonna go down and get coffee, and he gets lost in a labyrinth, and he's all horrifying and terrible and spooky and trippy and Lynchian. I wanted to make a crazy David Lynch fucking crazy cutaway thing. We had a little bit of that. It didn't get fully born to that extent, but that's the thing, because there was all sorts of different ideas that ended up coming out of the filming process that just all kind of came together, and also all the ideas we wanted got put in basically. Because obviously, like, our videographers, Sophie and Dylan, had different ideas for shots and what scenes could get put in alongside. So shout out to those two for being very excellent videographers. Dylan on the Canon XF400, and Sophie on her own, I think it's a Sony A6000, and her little gimbal auto stabilizing thing. They did a very good job coming up with ideas for shots and coinciding with each other very well. Scene 5 was the meeting between the victim and the entity, or the ghoul as we'll call him from now on, because we ended up just calling him the ghoul. And then I think scene 6 was a chase scene going on. Scene 7 was the great escape, he ends up back in the office. Scene 8 is the panning of the office, everyone's like shocked and horrified. And then scene 9 is the big payoff, the final comedic line, courtesy of one of our big dudes, our marketing manager Ed, who loves his fucking coffee, hence the final quote, "Where's the fucking coffee?" And that ends title sequence. And that's it, that's 10 scenes right there for you, including the titles. So we basically went down there with this storyboard, and We printed off the treatment that I wrote as well, just to kind of keep us right in terms of the pacing and what's happening. Well, actually, first we did auditions because we didn't know who was going to play the victim. It was between me and Greg, just because I guess we were the ones who came up with the idea in the first place. And then obviously Greg ended up getting the role as a victim, which is definitely right. He was very good in the role, very good at being panicked, out of breath, fucking bug-eyed and shit. I was okay at it. I didn't have the same the breathing and that was fine. I didn't have the same urgency in my face and my eyes as Greg did. Those few years at pace really paid off. So we ended up in the role as the victim. So that was it, pretty much a short audition, demo tapes of us panicked, how panicked could we get and stuff like that. And then the next day it was down to the tunnels, baby. Going down to the break room, you know, shooting all that kind of stuff. We had the funny idea of, we printed off this sign and put it on the door, like little smug little emoji saying, "Have you forgotten your key?" And then he walks past the break room again and it's the same sign. But it's like The Shining, where it's like all work and no play over and over again. It's like, "Did you forget your key? Did you forget your key?" We're actually gonna have another one where the whole thing was the emoji's face, but it says, "Where's the fucking key?" But we ended up not using it because we didn't want to use too many fucks for the whole thing, basically. We wanted to keep it not at that blue, so we used the last fuck for the end with the big payoff final line and that kind of stuff. There's a few scenes where he's looking in an elevator that we didn't end up using, where he's like, "Fuck that," and then he walks past again and goes, "Fuck it," and all that kind of stuff. Would have been funny, but we don't need that many F's and Jeffs throughout the whole thing, basically. But yeah, we basically just shot it, not even scene by scene, just the scenes that were the most convenient to do. So we kind of rocked out scene 2, going down to the break room, scene 1, coffee in the office, and a little bit of scene 3, getting lost. Scene 3 was the most we shot because it's like we wanted different angles and the different tunnels we explored. Basically all underground the Paisley Centre, places we'd never even seen before, up and down stairwells, places we never, it just went on, it was endless. There was a lot of great exploring and stuff going on, and we managed to find all sorts of very neat places to film. We even found an abandoned McDonald's at one point, which is really rad. We had a cool little shot there we ended up not using, where Greg's exploring the victim. He's exploring like this strange little place and trips over a bit of wood, which is quite amusing. But yeah, there was a lot of cool little places we found that we never knew existed. We just went deeper and deeper into the place to get some really cool shots and, you know, change it up, because obviously the idea is it's a labyrinth, it's endless. And while you do end up shooting in the same places, you can make it look like it's not the same place just by angles and how he comes in and stuff like that. But you know, it's important to like vary it up so it doesn't look like you're always using the same places. You can do it a little bit, but not too much. So yeah, scene 3 was definitely the one that we shot the most. Pretty much we were down there for so long. Like we shot it over like the space of 2 days. Really wanted it out for Friday initially, the 2 days before Halloween, but then we decided, fuck it, drop on a Sunday, drop on Halloween. So we really rushed Wednesday and Thursday to try and get it edited and filmed and stuff. If you're interested in the editing process, I did stream it because, like I said, on Fridays on Cloman Live I do streaming, editing streams. I've archived them on the YouTube channel, so the 2 that survived anyway, because they're streams on like a 15-day timer before they get wiped. But 2 of them survived and they're archived on the YouTube channel right now. If you want to watch the editing process of Coffee Break, see a little bit more of a behind the scenes, again, of like how we did some of it, like how I did the thing with the Coffee Break logo or titles coming in, how I managed to get all that to happen, because it was 2 different ones, one white, one black, one was one behind the other. We used a paint splatter effect on Premiere to make it kind of come in, white on black, and all that kind of stuff. And how we sorted things like the audio, because Dylan's camera was capturing the audio, Sophie's wasn't. So we had to sync up audio, Sophie's video with Dylan's audio, and then obviously the audio is only playing in one ear, you need to change that. The audio is hissing, you need to change that. There's all sorts of things that goes into the editing process. You can find all that on the stream archives on the YouTube. So after this video, yes. And then of course there's the matter of the ghoul, which is probably one of the other biggest interesting behind the scenes parts of making this short possible. Thankfully the part of the ghoul got passed over to me, which I'm very grateful for. It's basically been a fucking lifelong dream of mine to play some sort of slasher villain. I've got Jason Voorhees back there, Leatherface is next to him. I love horror, I love slasher films. Slasher villain is something I've always wanted to play, and basically coffee break let me live a bit of a dream that way by letting me play the ghoul. The makeup process was long and arduous. I got picked naturally because at the time I had very, very long hair. I got it cut now, but at the time my hair was down at my back and it was very long, very thick, very curly. And also just because I was able to make a very foreboding figure. So, and I guess also because as like a conceptualizer of the thing, I got to play the ghoul. And when I was not the ghoul, I was kind of doing a co-director role, giving direction to the victim, to Greg, how to act in certain places and stuff, and just like ideas, you know, doing a bit of recce, here's places we should shoot and all that kind of stuff, while Dylan and Sophie handled the videography, and Greg acted, obviously, while also giving some direction and places to go. So yes, the day came where we basically shot all the ghoul scenes. And the makeup process is pretty fun. It's a shame we didn't get to record any of it while we're doing some of the coffee cutaways, you know, asking for coffee cutaways and stuff. I was actually back there. As you can probably notice, the office is full of mirrors for some reason. It's because the place used to be a body shop, I'm pretty sure. There's a lot of scenes there. You wouldn't see them very much, but if I told you, you'd see it. I'm kind of back there getting done up, getting the makeup done. Makeup was done by Lou and Sophie, well done to them, for sorting the hair and makeup. The process basically began with me getting my hair straightened. Very thick hair, even straightening it isn't enough because it bounces back pretty quickly. But I managed to straighten it out, and we had one of those brush things that gets curls out and stuff. And then we matted the hair up with like some hair product to make it more like scraggly and matted and stuff. And then the makeup, which was a very basic like pound coin fucking makeup kit. There was just a few different paints like blacks and whites and greys and a little bit of fake blood. We actually based the makeup on something from a film because you know, we were on the spot like, what do we want the makeup to look, what do we want the ghoul to look like, because we didn't really know what it was going to look like at first. When I envisioned the entity, it was going to be like a faceless, you don't even really see it, it's in shadow and stuff like that. But then we decided to go straight slasher film with it, which I'm glad we did. So during the process of the ghoul makeup, there was two choices. I suggested that we go for the makeup worn by Vincent Price, the horror actor in the film Madhouse, one I've not even seen. I know what it looks like, I know what he looks like in the film. One of the first things I thought of like the night before we were filming my scenes was this makeup, because it's a very simple like skeleton makeup, but done really well, and a little bit different, because it's not like, you know, a skull, it's like a white face, black eyes and like a black mouth going up to here and a blacked out nose. Very simple, easily applicable makeup that looks really creepy. Greg wanted to do the face of Pazuzu from the first Exorcist film, which is also very creepy, but that one was more reliant on like how light captured the face and stuff and how gaunt the person looked, which wouldn't have translated as well in what we were trying to do. And also my face was obscured by hair anyway, so we just wanted like a suggestion of a weird looking creepy guy. So we applied the general overall look of Vincent Price from Madhouse, and also we painted my neck all black to make the face more apparent and more gaunt looking and stuff, which is a good idea from Greg. Shout out to him for coming up with that at the last second. And then that was about it for the makeup and stuff, and then it was a case of finding the murder weapon. So we looked for a couple of things. We had a whole toolbox in the office, and it was like, what weapon do we use? And there was a choice between a saw, like a proper, like not even a hacksaw, just like a saw for cutting wood, or this wrench thing that we found that was pretty, you know, it's a wrench. It's not very exciting on its own, but the thing that sold us all is one of my favourite scenes in the whole thing is the close-up of me with the wrench and like flipping it open for that like satisfying sound effect, which was not dubbed over, that was the sound from the time, and we were sold. There's something about the sound effect. It's menacing, it's a bit spooky. It may look like a wrench, but you know, people can get, you know, I'm opening the wrench up like I'm gonna fucking like grab something off you, and like, you know, it's a blunt object as well, so it's not something you want to contend with really. And that was the murder weapon of choice. Then it was a case of fake blood. We used some of the paint, basically put some paint in my hands and just like got it right into my arms and stuff, dirtied myself up while like I've been about the place. A little bit of fake blood on the fingers and stuff, and a little bit of fake blood on the murder weapon, and that's your go. I just dressed up as all black as well, and that was really about it in terms of like the creative process and like the filming process, from conceptualization to filming. Like I said, we pretty much got it done over the course of like maybe, like I said, 2.5 days, including conceptualizing and the short audition that we did. It pretty much got done. We riled out pretty quick. After that, it was just a case of editing and like some color grading and stuff like that, just making the office scenes look a bit nicer and adding a nice design and look over the tunnel scenes to make it look more like I said Saw-like. Saw has that weird dingy, dark, dirty green look over the whole thing, and that we kind of tried to replicate that for the tunnels, which I think was done very nice. I guess in terms of stuff like music and stuff, most of it was just Kevin MacLeod from Incompetent. Shout out to that guy for making a bunch of excellent free-to-use music. I thought that guy immediately because I know the guy makes amazing horror music, so that was most of what we used. And then after that, it was just like office ambience and the office itself to make it sound less quiet. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the behind the scenes of Coffee Break. That's pretty much how we came to create the whole thing. The creative process, the conceptualizing it, and bringing it to life via filming, the length it took, the places we went. It was basically all done in the same place, the tunnels in the office, really, that was about it. And we did a lot of exploring for the tunnels, it was great. You could see through a lot of the shots that we didn't use, how many places we had in mind and stuff like that we could have used. A lot of great work again. Sophie was there doing a little bit of acting as well, she did great there. The videography, everyone did well, brilliant. They all filled their roles perfectly. Shout out to Lou and Ed as well for acting as well. Lou for being the dead hand actor, Lou for applying the blood and all that kind of stuff, helping with the hair, and also being in the office as well. And Ed for excellently provided the final line, and also just, being an actor in the whole thing as well. Everyone did an excellent job. And we riled out pretty damn quick. And that is pretty much the behind the scenes of Coffee Break, a StudioFV special. I hope you enjoyed the slow getting into the creative process of making a thing like this, a short horror film. The conceptualization, the filming, the editing, all the things that go into making a thing like this with a small group of young creatives in the office. Just want to make a thing for our own personal showreel on StudioFV. And it just goes to show if you have the right equipment and the right minds, you can really just do that kind of shit in the right locations and everything. You can just do it. You can go for it. And it came out really, really well. I like to think definitely it was pretty good. We wanted it to be 3 minutes in length. But as it goes with ambitious ideas and like more ideas coming together, it was like, yeah, a lot longer than we thought it was going to be. But it's still a really good length. It's 7 minutes that flies in pretty quickly. So it's all good. No complaints at all for it being 7 minutes. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching this behind the scenes breakdown discussion of how we made this Halloween special, how we made a short horror film. More of these to come. I'm really glad that we got to do this sort of stuff. I've been wanting to do a kind of nail this idea of like creative process stuff on Clone. That's the sort of stuff I love to do. And what better way to get in a creative process than by talking about the creative process of something that we made, that I was involved in making. It makes sense. So yes, behind the scenes, Coffee Break, StudioFV Halloween special. I've been Coleman. Thank you all very much for watching, and stay tuned for more. Goodbye.